YouTube, how the heck you doing? This is Choreographed Watcher of Realms. We're back with another edition of VOD review. This was sweaty. Good God. Obviously shout out RisingHorde, fantastic guild. We were able to go ahead and get the best of them, at least in this Gladiator Gauntlet. So we are officially going into the top 4 now, which is kind of nice. This is the first time that I've personally ever been in this position. So shout out the guild, right? Not much to say. Shout out the guild. So let's go ahead and get straight to it. I am going to go ahead and post this a little bit after the fact, mainly because there are some really interesting strategies that were used by both guilds on this run, and I don't want to necessarily make it public quite yet. So if you're seeing this, Gladiator Gauntlet's probably already over or something, right? Something catastrophic happen, like we lose top 4 or something like that. Shouldn't happen, but if you're seeing this, yeah. So let's go ahead and get straight into it. I did attack Jalo. Hopefully I'm saying his name right. We're actually friends, so I really hope I'm saying his name right. Yeah, I actually kind of butchered this attack. I used the wrong mages here, and it just didn't go in my favor. So basically, let me kind of slow this down here. So my rationale, super quick, right, is if I can go ahead and blow up the Ymrit, which I was able to do in multiple other tests, then I'm pretty good. But what happens is Ymrit survives, right? Now there's a couple of reasons why Ymrit survives. One, Ymrit's like tanky as heck, like super tanky, and the Ymrit's in key, so that gives him some additional sustain as well. So every single time that this kind of match prolongs, the Ymrit's getting a little bit more tanky and a little bit more tanky. So that's one of the issues right now. And see, right, he basically takes 0 damage at this point. So this is automatically in a really rough spot in general. The next thing that I try to go ahead and do to kind of salvage it is go ahead and drop the double archers into the Infernal Clerk. The whole purpose of this is I'm going to go ahead and try to just burn down the Gon, and if I get the chance to do it, then there is a possibility that I go ahead and actually just kind of wipe down the Ymrit as well, and then I'm able to fly over and win. But nothing goes in my favor in this particular run. Ardea basically one-shots everything, and from there on out, it's just an auto loss, right? It really just comes down to I used the wrong mages. So I definitely trolled on this one. At this point, it was probably better for me just to forfeit, but I never forfeit. I just kind of run it down and hope, well, maybe there's a chance that these lightning guards are able to deal with the Sargak and survive. And drop the Infernal Clerk, hopefully to just burn down the Gon, but once again, it just does not happen, right? Too much damage, no chance. It was a little bit of an unlucky run, but we are able to salvage it. We go ahead and loop. So really quick, right? Small One is still going ahead and offering their discount on those W Gold purchases. You're still getting those diamonds, those stamina potions, and the divines, and at the higher end you're getting some additional W Gold. So just be on the lookout for that. Also, if you are interested and you want to go and start stacking up for anniversary or any upcoming banners that you might be looking forward to, right? They have some new packs here where you do go ahead and get some rare stamina. Not rare stamina. You get some rare summoning crystals. You get another rare summoning crystal pack. You have an ancient summoning crystal pack, which is like a really good mix between the Leia and the Ovar pack. So that's one thing to be on the lookout for. They also have a, where is it? A recasting hammer bundle, which is pretty good, especially if you're thinking, oh, I want to go ahead and roll this quad roll. It's there, right? They have an Infernal faction pack, so you have the ability to get a Infernal units, and they also have a Nightmare faction pack as well, which is also super good, especially kind of considering where we are nowadays with those two factions, having some really good members. And then we have another Ancient Summoning Crystal pack, which is a little bit lower price in case you just want to get a couple, but not too many. Anyways, if you're thinking about it, link is in the description. See ya. Win another attack here, which is actually really huge, at least for morale on my side. So let's go ahead and look at it. So this is against Unlucky. This is a esoteric team. So what we go ahead and do is we kind of just set up the flying strategy, right? And then we also have some rare archers here and some dogs and the epic archers. So what we go ahead and do, right, is we drop the epic archers here. And our whole goal is really just to go ahead and force down Cyrus to be a little bit lower HP to go ahead and set up our epic, or not epic, our legendary flyers to go ahead and take him out. So once we have our rare flyers, our rare archers doing their job, they go ahead and bait out the Anora ult, and they go ahead and proc the Boreas ult. Once this happens, we are in a really, really good spot, because that means that these flyers here are no longer going to have to worry about two massive sources of damage between Anora's ult and then Boreas as well. So they're pretty good. The flyers go ahead and they start zapping down the Cyrus right about now. There we go. And he's down. So that's the good part. The next thing is they start to go ahead and deal some damage to the Boreas, which they should be able to go ahead and take him out any second now. And there we go. He's down. The reason why we have these healers here as well is to go ahead and give some sustain, because if the flyers are able to just come and wreck shop, then it's a pretty safe win overall. And they do go ahead and do exactly that. Both flyers are still alive right now, so they are putting pressure on Carnelian, Gimrit, and then in a second here they're going to put pressure on the Anora and just fully clear this map. The healers did their job, and at this junction we have the epic archers here. They take out Anora, and this is a pretty safe win. It really just comes down to Boreas ult getting procced right here. Once that happens, it's a pretty safe and consistent win. So that's the good thing. The next team is pretty much the exact same composition, just that Anora and Boreas are actually swapped in terms of positioning, which actually makes a pretty big difference overall, and it causes us to go ahead and lose, because the rare archers actually don't go ahead and trigger the Boreas, which is kind of like the win condition, truth be told. So we go ahead and drop it. Here we are. And here's what happens, right? They get right about here, but Anora, she gets her ult the second they hit this tile here. Boreas doesn't. And so Anora goes ahead and ults and pretty much wipes them before they even get to this tile right here, proccing the Boreas. So it's honestly a little bit unlucky. I would have probably been better off dropping, like, I don't know, dropping a healer or something just to bait out the ults, and then it would have been a little bit better. But there's a different strategy for this that works better than the one that I used, and so a little bit unlucky on that side. But even this, right, the Cyrus is a little bit tanky. He's surviving pretty well, all things considered, and so it's not looking the best. We're really just banking on this healer right here giving enough sustain for these units to pass through. But it's not looking like it's going to happen, because Anora has ulted and Boreas has his ult again. So it's just bad news bears, right? Everything that could have gone wrong did, at least with this particular strategy. Obviously, right, as I said, there's a different strategy for it that works better, but it just didn't work in this particular instance. So we go ahead, we drop the dogs. We're just trying to go ahead and salvage the run. It's not going to happen. It's just not, right? Because they're going to have to go through Cyrus and his skeleton and Gimrit. It's not happening, right? So we go ahead and we comfortably lose this one, sadly. So I'm just going to exit out and not just kind of waste too much time. But it's a little bit of an unfortunate loss in that sense. And then we have our final attack here. Now, I had to go ahead and really get nerdy with the timings here when my guildmates was able to go ahead and beat this first. And so I realized, well, let me go ahead and copy it, right? So the win condition off of this is actually a very, very, very tight window. And I don't know if my guildmate meant to do this. If he did, he's an absolute legend, good God. But basically, what it required is Lily is going to go ahead and ult here, right? And I'm waiting for Reeves to get his ult, but the most important timing is actually off of this. So what happens is about 340, 350 is the window that I want to go ahead and drop my dogs, because Reeves will have ult and Lily will be at a decent point for her ultimate as well by the time the strategy continues on. So once we get to this 340 number, now, dogs. Now the dogs are going to kind of pass through here. Now the whole purpose is the dogs are going to go ahead and bait out the Boreas ult and the Anora ult. Bam, frozen, triggered, everything. So here is where things get a little bit interesting. Lily is going to go ahead and have her ultimate, but we're actually waiting on Reeves to get to 14. 14, double Shadowcasters. Now, Lily has gone ahead and forced her ult passive. So what's happening here is the Shadowcasters are going to run through, And once we get to, this is the final like timing. Now, there we go. We dropped the bugs right about 6.25 cost. The next step is to go ahead and drop the speeder. And all this is because Lily is no longer in a position where she has ultimate or anything like that. And we should be good enough timing wise for the bugs to kind of fall through here and explode. And bam, they do exactly that. They go ahead and take out the Boreas. Now, if my bugs were a little bit stronger, they would have taken out the Anora as well, but unlucky. Our shadow casters, they do the job though. They go ahead and they take out the Reeve, and that's how we're able to go and secure the dub. There we go. So yeah, timings, windows, incredibly tight on that team. It is a little bit of a BP requirement on the bugs themselves to go ahead and do their job, but once they do it, it's a simple win. Anyways, that is how we went ahead and beat RisingHorde, which was the number 3 guild, at least based off the season standings, for this Gladiator Gauntlet.